Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I know that was out of order, but wherever you are and whenever you are, welcome to another community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie, coming to you from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, with another episode of Community Live Stream. This is Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. The years are getting away from me. Not only are the months and days getting away, and I appreciate you joining me live today on the, let me put this aside. I'll go shrink down here into the corner and join me on YouTube. Thank you very much. This is the live stream where I go into the community and I don't know what I'm going to find. I find things to discuss with you that I find interesting, that you get not only the answers, but the thought process that goes on behind those answers. You get the tips, the tricks, the platform insights, obscure knowledge that can help you in your daily job to solve similar problems. Just expand your knowledge about the platform in an interesting and somewhat ad hoc way that I do every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. UTC. And again, happy that you are here. If you want to stay subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it very much. That way you get notified when it starts. I believe I got my notification already. Not yet, but YouTube will catch up eventually. And when other videos are posted, there is other great content on this channel than just the community live stream. I encourage you, if you find something helpful in here, give it a like down there, click the old thumbs up button. Appreciate it very much. It helps others recognize what's useful, what's been mentioned, what's hot, what everybody enjoyed. I actually saw in the community the first reference to one of these videos. I don't know if somebody has done it and I haven't seen it before, but this is the first one that I've seen. There was an answer, I think it was yesterday's video, and they said, hey, check out, what was it, about 52 minutes and some odd seconds into this video where Chuck provides your answer. So, wow. As much as I love giving answers, I did not expect that. But if you do have a question, if you just want to give a shout out and say hi, tell me what the weather's like, where you are, that'd be great. Good morning, Todd from Florida. Good to see you again. Hope everything went well last night. Oh, wait, you're in Fort Lauderdale, I believe. The Orlando meetup, I'll get to that in just a second, was last night. Don't know if you had a chance to get over there for that one. If there is another Fort Lauderdale meetup, love to hear about it. I'll try to get it on the events list as soon as possible. If you do have a question about the platform, something that goes beyond your weather, your location, that sort of thing, put it in the community, community.servicenow.com. I'd love to tie in and answer that. Make sure you put that in the right forum. If it's a developer-related question around scripting or one of the platform features, that's great. Put it in the developer area. If it's more towards reporting and performance analytics, put it in that forum. We've got these various sub-forums, like many forums do, generally around the products. So if you've got a question, you don't know where to put it, try one of the products first. It's usually pretty easy to break it down that way in the product family. So if you're looking for discovery, it's going to go in the IT operations management section. And you can always tag it with discovery later. So put it in there. Please, one question per post. Makes it easier to answer, makes it easier to find later, makes it easier for you to digest the information rather than asking three things in one. And play nice. I don't think we've ever had a problem with that, but I try. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Kevin. The Orlando meetup was fun. Good. I'm glad you had a good time. Be interested to hear what sort of things you talked about. Speaking of meetups and events, we'll get to that in just a minute. You can find out more about meetups and events for the developers over at developer.servicenow.com, where you can also get your very own free personal developer instance that includes Kingston, our latest release, Jakarta, and Istanbul. We will have London out later this summer, so stay tuned for that. We are working on nailing down all the final things for that release. The code has been pretty much frozen. The transfer of information from product management to support is going on this week. There's marketing, there's sales, there's all kinds of new stuff coming out in London that I think you're going to enjoy. Plus a lot of nice enhancements that are coming out to the existing products that we've already mentioned here and in other webinars. So I am right now in data gathering mode for London. I told my wife I do two things, and you'll see it on the cover sheet of this presentation. Learn, share, help. I am currently in learn mode when it comes to London. So I am sucking up all the information. She walked in the living room, saw me watching the webinars that are going on for that, and she said, "Your job is boring." I said, "No, this is the consume part. Once I'm done consuming, then I spew it back to other people." So that's what I do. I learn, I share, and I have fun. That's a great way to go, in my opinion, anyway. Developer.servicenow.com. Go over there for scripting APIs, meetups, API documentation. I think I just mentioned that, the scripting APIs, free personal developer instance, learning paths, all kinds of good stuff. And that is being changed on a regular basis. So make sure, if you haven't been there in a while, go back regularly. If you haven't used your personal developer instance in a few days, check in, use it again before it gets reclaimed. If you want to save your work, make sure you export it to update sets or GitHub repo. You get the idea. You know what the situation is there. Good luck. Let's see. We did YouTube, Twitch, developer, community. I think we're ready to move on to the events. We do have several events coming up. I know that yesterday was one of them. We had a workshop. It was also my dad's birthday. Made sure to give him a call. Happy birthday to my dad. 84 years old. Great guy. But I might be biased on that. But June 19th is coming up as the EA Forum for Enterprise Architects in Calgary. We've also got several webinars coming up. Again, find out more about this on the events.html page on servicenow.com. There's a whole lot more there. And I post at least 3, sometimes up to 10 different announcements on LinkedIn and Twitter. If you wish to follow me there, that would be great. You can keep up to date on that as well. The whole LinkedIn alerts thing, comments, you get it. Or if you just want to search by geo or region, you can do that in the link at green. As far as meetups, yeah, we had a great Orlando meetup, according to Kevin. That worked out really well. And Dallas is coming up tomorrow night. Wow, that came up quickly. We've also got Raleigh. We've got Phoenix. We've got Sacramento and Las Vegas. I'm not going to read the whole list. You can see it there. Check out something in your area. If there isn't one in your area, reach out to us. Let us know. We can get you on the path to get one started. There are also a couple that could use some new leadership. If you're in the New York or Chicago area and watching this either live or at a later date, let us know. And we can get you hooked up with that and help you. It's pretty darn easy. The hardest part is finding venues, and we can help you with that too. We've got some ideas to make it much easier and very economical too. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg doing this. In fact, none of the money's really coming out of your pocket. We help fund that. We want to see our developer community grow to get people involved. So enough about the commercials. Let's get on with the real work. Let's go to the community, where I dive in and pull things at random that interest me, that I feel I can help, that I feel I can move forward, explain to you what's going on inside of my head so that you get the insight. And sometimes we go down rabbit trails and random things, and who knows what's going on. So thank you for joining me this morning. We had a bit of an issue yesterday with YouTube. It jumped in about 3 minutes too. Remember I said I was having problems getting the stream running on my side? It just wasn't listening. Even though I was broadcasting, it wasn't listening. There was no intro music. There was no intro slides. Like, boom, jumped in, and I think I was talking about events. Like, what was that all about? So sometimes the technical gremlins leave my house and they go to YouTube. Twitch was fine. Let us partake with a screen refresh. Make sure we've got the latest and greatest up here. I'm going to start the way I usually do, with the unanswered content, unreplied content. Let's see what's new and exciting. Delegate access on the portal view. As far as I know, we don't have delegated access on there. You might be able to do it if you do with a form. Let's see what they're asking for. Is there a way to add delegate access to the portal only view? I'm very new to ServiceNow Jakarta version, and I'm not sure what the best way of doing this would be. Let's take a look. I have a personal developer instance running on Kingston. I know he said Jakarta, but I'm going to bring up the link for that /sp, which is the native service portal, and see what's available in the profile. Can I do a delegate type thing. Now, I am an admin with my credentials right now, so that gives me a little bit of an interesting perspective, but I'm going to go to the profile menu in the upper right and about team user preferences time zone. I would think you could make a widget, but I don't see one here by default to allow you to do that. Anybody have any similar, do you see comments when posted to Twitch? I posted comments there without ever receiving. You know what, Kevin? I have not. I have looked and looked. I keep that on my screen. It's just off to the right of the YouTube screen, but I've never seen. I assume you're watching. Somebody's watching right now. Let me give a quick test on that. Maybe I didn't sign up for the membership or something. I don't know. You can't make comments? I put a hello in there if anybody's watching on Twitch. Let's see what happens. So anyway, back to the delegation. These are widgets on a service portal page. And the page is user_profile. So I don't see a widget offhand. Let's give a quick reply. I don't see a widget to enable that type of action. The delegate action by default. You may have to create your own. Let me see how it's manifested on the regular interface. It's been a long time since I looked at that, so I really don't remember. Go to System Administrator profile there. And that's the self-service view. Lovely. Let's go to the, was it a default view? Got Howard's picture up there. Subscriptions, delegates is a related list. So, and you tell it when it starts and when it ends. You could definitely do this if you wrote your own widget and put it on there. You would be able to be able to enter those, and then you could have a list widget list these things. So I think that's what you have to create your own by creating a widget that adds entries to the whatever table. That's just not the technical answer. I don't even know what the table name is. It is the sysuser delegate table. I got that just by clicking on the delegate record to create a new one. And then up in the URL, can't really see it all that well. So I will highlight the appropriate part and bring it on into a text editor that acts as a poor man's magnifying glass. And in the URL, you've got instance name, nav2.do, and then the URI it's trying to navigate to is after that. That's what's embedded in that little window. And it says %2f, which is a /. Don't worry, you'll get these after a while. Sys under user under delegate.do. That says bring up the form for that table. And that's what I've got. So that's how I got that answer. Told you I was going to share how I get these answers. You may want to create your own widget that adds entries to sys user delegate table, and you can also add a simple list widget that shows any current delegates, similar to the related list you get on sysuser. More service portal basics. Creating your own widgets and copying others is available. Is that episode 28? I think it's 28, but I won't quote it yet because I'm not sure. In the Tech Now series. Episode 28? I think we did 2, 28 and 30. The hazards of having 5 years of content behind you. Actually, it's closer to 6. I did a little, I was talking to Craig Stepp and discovered that we actually started the Tech Now series before it was Tech Now. It was an internal webinar series for our professional services team when I was back in professional services. And the genesis of that was June of 2012. And I did that for about 6 months before somebody said, we'd really like to share this with customers. Can we do that? And there were technical reasons as well as sanity reasons. I don't know if that's the right word, but I wasn't sure if the content was presentable to external entities, customers, partners, etc. So we reused some of that content. There's still some in the hopper that I've got. I might actually do it later this year or early next year that I never used in the last 6 years. Imagine that. Thought I was starving for idea. YouTube seems to freeze randomly on me when watching the stream, and I need to refresh the entire browser and have it load the rest of the broadcast. Yeah, mine paused once. I saw the spinning thing there, so I know it's a little further behind Twitch than it is right now. Looking at Twitch, I put in a hello there. I've got just the stream chat, and it says no rooms yet. Now Community hasn't created any rooms yet. That's fine. I wonder if I have to log in as Now Community to see those comments. Maybe we're just chatting with Now Community who owns this content. I don't know. I'm still coming up to speed on Twitch, which is interesting because that's where the whole idea was born of me doing this live stream, was to be on Twitch. But of course, YouTube seems to be more popular. How can we add the workflow activities in packs section in workflow? I think I know what they're doing. Those would be orchestration packs. Can we add custom workflow activities on packs? The answer to that is, I believe, no. When you create a new custom workflow, it goes under your own, a new activity. So let's go to workflow editor. Workflow has been around since about 2008. I think it was mid-2008 when it first came out. It's had a good life. And I have orchestration turned on, so I would see packs. But I believe if you add new activities, it's going to be under custom. Yeah, create Linux user is one that I did for a demonstration. It would go under custom. No, packs are the ones you purchase. Those are the ServiceNow ones. So the answer to that is nope. The custom activities you create, let's see if we can spell activities correct. Activities that you create go under custom. Packs is where the purchased activity packs, the activity packs you purchase from ServiceNow are located. Here's an example of a create Linux user demo I did. There was something else I was going to say in there. No, I don't remember what it was. Trying to remember why I did that. Why I was doing the create Linux user demo. I also had to do an orchestration demo at one point. You never know what they're going to ask me for and what I have to learn for. Good morning, Mike. All right, Kevin, I see your comment in Twitch. So that came by in whatever that was, the last 3 or 4 minutes. Don't know if it's really slow or if what's going on. We're solving ServiceNow questions and answering Twitch questions at the same time. It's a wonderful day. Can my demands module be deactivated? Yes. That'd be easy. I uncheck the active box after saving and reverts back to being checked. Oh, wow. Now, I don't have demand management in here. At least I don't think I do. No, I never turned on that plugin. I don't know if I want to at this point. It may be a little time consuming, and I might need my personal developer instance for other questions as I go on. I believe demand was part of PPM, not PPM. It was part of Demand management, of course. All right, just for fun, let's turn it on. And we'll come back to that question. I'll leave that open in its own tab. It's going to turn on assessment, process flow formatter, which is already on, and timeline visualization. Learn more. Oh, this plugin is associated with a for-fee subscription service. Turn on, some files will not be loaded because these plugins are inactive. Project Portfolio Suite. So, because I have a personal developer instance, I can go to, not the product documentation, I can go to Manage Instance on developer.servicenow.com. This is another advantage of getting a free personal developer instance. Underneath Action, I can activate the plugin, and maybe, just maybe, Project and Portfolio is in here. I don't see it. Nope. Nope. Okay, so I can add a lot of plugins, but I can't add that one. Is it buried under something else? I thought it was financial. Event, ITOM, kept our Trigo, orchestration, orchestration, orchestration. This is where a lot of those activity packs would come in. Where it says orchestration activities, VMware, for example, that would put the plugins there. Performance analytics, all content packs, plan task v2. Nope. Puppet, Service 360 analytics. Darn. I don't see it, so I cannot answer that one. Let's see what they've done for photos. Looks like the same picture twice. I click here. It downloads. Open that up. Waiting. There it is. Let's blow that up a little bit. Come on. Wow, the machine's being slow today. Okay, I see the active is checked. My demands, there's no roles. Assume you're admin. Yes. Okay, it could be. Normally, unchecking active does the trick. When you say, I checked it after saving, it reverts back to, if it's turning back on after saving, then I recommend going to diagnostics or debug business rules using the module debug business rules. And observe the diagnostic information at the bottom of the page after you save. That may shed some light on whether or not a business rule is changing the value without your explicit knowledge. I would find this very unusual, but not out of the question. I'm also assuming you are doing this as someone with admin role. Correct? All right, we'll take a look. Ding. I haven't been ringing the bell. Time is getting away from us. All right. One more? Two more? Help with script. 9 views. Let's see if anybody's responded. We are getting a little bit behind on our refresh. Application table has 2 fields. 1 reference, 1 list collector. Oh, sinus again. One of those almost sneezes that makes your eye swell up and hurt, and then it goes away. It's like a gremlin sneeze. Okay, 1 reference, 1 list collector, referring to table B, and clicking on UI action, unique records based on date are created in table C. Number of records are the total number of values in the above 2 fields. App value 1, app value 2, app value 3. When new records are created through the UI action, all old records of that application should have their current field set to false. I'm not sure I understand that last part. So they've got a UI action, unique records are created in table C. When new records are created through the UI action, all old records of that application should have their current field set to false. What does that mean? This is where we need clarification. I'll reply, but I don't know. I think I have all the requirements up until the last part. What does that mean? If you can provide table names and field names plus a step-by-step, I can help write that script. It doesn't sound that complex, but details are critical to make this work. All right. That'll help. Let's do a refresh on this list. You know, I thought clicking that used to do the trick. It did. Unsolved. Unreplied. We'll just do that. We'll go back and forth. I don't know if that's any quicker than doing a Command R and then hitting unreplied. Accidentally deleted NPS and references, Net Promoter Score and references. You accidentally deleted something, then a good place to go check. I accidentally deleted a running NPS we had, and by mistake, I went to delete records and undeleted them. Now all my answers are gone, all the survey answers. What can I do? Odds are the information is still in sysdeleted records. Better connect with high support team to revert back to an older version, specific time data. Deleting, this is where it gets a little crazy, because business rules may be doing something for you. Cascade delete may be doing something for you. You may delete one record and it'll say, hey, you're also going to delete all these other records in the related list, and it will take those out too. Did you check all related tables in, what is it, system something deleted records? Like when you delete a catalog item, so it's going to delete all the questions. It's not going to leave those records out there with hanging references. System definition deleted records. System definition deleted records. You may have gotten the parent records back, but there are likely records in related lists that you need to undelete as well. Let me give you a quick example. I go to, I'm not sure how I got there. Let's turn that off. There it is. All right, let's pick something silly. Let's do users, and I go to users and make that user a member of a group. So let's take Allison Gillespie. I have no idea what she's doing today. She has one role, SNC internal. She's going to be part of a group, which I can add and make her get other roles. So let's add her to this. Safety. We'll make her part of the safety department, safety users. That gives her a couple of roles if I remember right. Yep, gives her 2 roles. So now we've got 3 entries here, 2 entries there. This table is sysuser GR member. Excuse me, sysuser GR member are the entries in here. And if I say delete this user, warning, it's going to delete some other stuff in here. That's nice. Those aren't even related records. But okay. Allison Gillespie is now gone. I went, oh no, I deleted Allison Gillespie. And I go to deleted records and get that information. I can see, based on the record deleted, here's the sysuser record for Allison Gillespie. If I just undelete that, restore that, then it's just going to get her record back. I'm not going to get her roles. I'm not going to get her entitlements. I'm not going to get her other stuff. Here's the one for sysuser has role. Here's the one for sysuser GR member. You can see these go there. I don't know what happened to the other ones. Here's the other ones. Here's some other ones. That's not for her. But if I look at what's been deleted today, here's the expense lines that it warned me about. So take a look at everything that was deleted today. And there we go. I could do a complete restore of her with all this stuff. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Something tells me I'm not going to get all the roles back. There was that one. I can even put that in a screenshot for her. Here's an example of a user I deleted from sysuser, but there are other related records that were deleted at the same time. I need to also restore all of those. Check your records that were deleted around the same time as your NPS records and restore those too. Screenshot, paste, reply. Did we get rid of that error message that says this is not good content? Nope. Okay. So anyway, back to my example. Let's restore those. I select them all. I go to the menu and say undelete records. I will now go back to sysuser. It also says things like primary email device created, because it is inserting a record at this point. Adding role, safety user, good, it got that back. Safety department, because those sysuser group members, it only saved the sysuser role that was explicitly granted. It's what it looks like. The others are managed by business rules. So when you insert a record into sysuser GR member, it says, oh, they're now a member of this table. That group has this role. I'm going to grant this role to that user. That's my theory. Let's check it out, because it only had the one sysuser role record in there, which is the relationship between the user and the role. So let's go back to Allison. There she is. Even remembers the original date, because when you delete a record, it retains all the XML data in that so that you can do that restore. There's the original two. There's the two groups I added. Here's the roles. And if I look, these two, safety department and safety test, were inherited. SNC internal was granted explicitly. That's why there was only one sysuser role record in there. That was an explicit grant. So the system is smart enough to know what it's doing implicitly and what's it doing explicitly, and it will save the undeleted data for that explicit record. Cool. Learned a little bit more details about undelete. Very handy if you're looking for that kind of information. Delete isn't always the necessary end of the world, and you go back to restore. Kevin is saying, I'm testing this on my PDI. Steve is saying, I'm blurry. Sometimes the streaming bandwidth doesn't keep up. I've noticed that on YouTube. If you give it a little while, it will catch up. Netflix sometimes does this too. It steps down the resolution if the bandwidth is, so you don't get streaming errors. You don't get the spooling all the time. It will say, well, I can't go fast enough for 1080p or 720 or whatever it is. So I'm going to back down to 240 for a little while until the bandwidth comes back up. Kevin says, just tested this. It has saved the menu change after I deactivated the My Demands menu and refreshed the browser. So Kevin, you're saying that it did allow you to deactivate it. Did you have to refresh the menu? Or did it, usually when you tweak the applications or menus, it will auto refresh. It sends some sort of event to say, hey, go redraw. Not always. It doesn't do this from Studio, but it does do this from the standard UI. So if I go to modules and under system definition modules, and let's say I want to take table titles and just hide that. So I say equal table titles, and I find my module and I change it from true to double click that. Come on. I don't know what this little horizontal dance it's doing is. I'm in the safety menu, which, okay. Can't do that from safety. I have to do that from global. That's fine. Change the scope, redraw the screen, change it from true to false. I'm going to deactivate that. And it says, hey, this record was modified. Watch over here. I should see a redraw. And of course it was redrawn. Table titles goes away, right? Table titles. There is no table titles. And if I do it again and change it back to true, it will do a redraw of all of these wonderful things. Of course, me having been on the favorites probably didn't help anything. Table titles is now back. All right. So that's some sort of internal event we've got. It doesn't do that from Studio. Studio is in another tab, and I don't think that works across tabs like that, which means it's not a system event. It's more of a browser event to redraw that. Okie doke. Curious how you got demand management on your PDI, Kevin. I did not see that plugin available. Okay, let me turn to Google Drive and pull up my notes because I had some stuff I wanted to show you from older threads and conversations and things I found of interest. We'll go to NOWCommunity, notes. Stop calling them links because there's more in here than just links. Lots of notes. Bring that up and come on. In podcast land, these would be called show notes. We did the meetups. Hiding emails in the activity history. This was up a day or two ago. I don't remember exactly when. And somebody said, is it possible to hide the emails for certain emails in the activity history? Short answer, no. The activity history is a formatter. It is what it is. It's going to display what it's going to display. You can configure what it displays with the little funnel icon over on the right. And administrators can say, here are the choices I'm going to give users in that funnel icon. Instead of describing it, let's show you. Incident. Let's go to incident open, for example. Open up an incident. We like to pick on the incident table. And down on the activity history, which is down here, I have a funnel icon over to the right. Okay, see that? Right there. Right above my head. And if I click that, my big fat head gets in the way. Let me hide for just a moment so that you can see that. And we've got the different elements you can track in the activity history. Additional comments assigned to, and as a user, I can say, you know what, I really don't care about opened by. And when I click opened by, it redraws it without opened by. I don't care about impact. I just want to track the state and priority and some other stuff. Okay. Along with that, I have sent and received emails, and there's even one for attachments, if I want to see the attachments that are in there. So I've got various options. I can turn them all back on, of course, by clicking all, and it will bring them all back, or all that are relevant. You go, well, where's the resolution code, or where's the additional comments? For this particular one, comments have not been made yet, so there are no comments. Doesn't make any sense. If I add a comment, it will track the comments. For example, say, hello, post that there. It will now show that comment. There it is. Okay, I think we all get that. As an administrator, I have one option on the bottom here that says configure available fields. See that right on the bottom? That's where I can say what options I'm going to let the users do. If I don't want them to ever see the resolution notes or resolution code, I take that out and it is no longer part of their funnel options. I hit save. I wait for save. I take a drink off camera. And now you get the funnel icon without resolution stuff. Okay. No more resolution things in there. That's how you configure what's in the activity history. To try and go in and write a client script that latches on to certain elements of this is customization. And I do not recommend this. You're directly working with elements on the screen that could and likely will change, probably won't work in future releases, probably won't work in Service Portal. So there's not a whole lot of value in spending that level of investment to try and get that customization. I would go back, I've said this before, let the person know who's making this requirement, making this request, say, A, it's very costly to implement, B, it's very costly to maintain, and C, it's very costly to test. So is your requirement worth tens or hundreds of hours of investment to get that? That sounds like a nice to have more than a need to have. If it's a need to have, don't display that piece of information, whether it's the attachments or the emails or something of that nature. Leave it off. If it's that secure or you've got that level of security concern that you don't want people seeing email, fine, turn it off. Or you leave the activity history out. Or if I remember right, let me see if we can do this. You could potentially give them a different view. So here I'm going to, I did not use the resolution code. I'm on the default view. Let's go to the self-service view. Maybe this is another option. Let's go to self-service and see if we can configure the activity history different on different views. I thought you could. I think it stores it as a system property somewhere else. Let's do this one and say we are going to configure the available fields, and let's leave off attachments, relationship changes, sent receive emails. I'm just going to pare this down to almost nothing. Impact, work notes, definitely don't want work notes on an ESS view, and save that. Such that on my, wait for it, on my self-service view, I have a whopping 6 things I can choose from. All is the 7th. However, if I go back to configure, not configure, view, default view, I'm curious. I thought this worked. I don't know for sure. This is why I test things out here. And nope, I've got the 7. So what's happening? I'll show you this. I go to System Properties. It's storing the fields available as a property. So under Sys Properties, if I go to updated, sort from newest to oldest, I have glide.ui.incident under activity fields. I thought there was a way that it embedded the view name in there. It does not. That's too bad. That would have been a really nice way to segregate. Self-service users see this much, other users see this much. Now, obviously, ACLs also play a factor in this. If you don't have read access to the incident field, it's not going to show it on the form, and it's not going to show it in the activity history. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, that wasn't any fun, but it was a nice exploration activity. Let's go back to my notes. What else did I have in here? A GS Now date time, and Glide date time. I was reading through a thread, and they were looking for a way to put in the condition. And somebody said, hey, this doesn't work in Jakarta. Well, first of all, that's bad community etiquette. If something's not working, be a little more detailed in what's not working. What did you try? What did you expect? What did you see? What error messages did you get? What steps did you follow to get there? Very important information. Same 5 questions you ask your testers when they say a test failed. Okay, if you don't have that in your test plans, you should. What did you get? What did you expect? What did you try? Were there any error messages, and what steps did you follow? Okay, they should be following your steps, but that's not always guaranteed. I ran into a situation a few years ago where the tester went off script, found an error, reported it. It wasn't even on the script. They actually uncovered a platform error. It was with the duration field. If you put in a negative number, it totally hosed the whole form. That's been fixed way back in Berlin, I think it was. But again, I had to scratch my head and go, why would you try something like that? You are a tester. Follow the instructions. But congratulations for finding something nobody else has in umpteen years that we've had well, at that time, it was probably 7 years since we've had the duration field. Okay, they said it's not working in Jakarta. So my response to them was the same thing. What did you get? Error messages, all that stuff. What I tried is I went to scripts background in the global scope. I'm going to make that just a little bit bigger for you. It always helps when we're doing scripts. And did gs.info, gs now. And so what does that do? GS now should return the date right now in my local time zone. And when I run it, it says, yes, this is June 13th, 2018. Now date time returns the local time. And at first you might think that's great. If you have a condition that says the date updated, the date resolved, or the date created, or the date whatever is less than now, it's overdue. You could do a due date kind of thing to check that. However, that doesn't work in scoped apps. If I go to one of the scopes, say the safety scope, it says, warning Will Robinson, function now date time is not allowed in this scope. A lot of these older legacy Glide system methods, functions, are not available in scope. For that reason, we have new robust methods, okay, and new glide date time, which makes a little more sense that you can instantiate an object and run a bunch of methods against it and have multiples of those objects. Now, glide date time without an object, without any parameters, gives you, oops, I went too far back. Now I think I lost my script. That's all right. It's not like I had tons and tons of code in there. Without any parameters, takes the current date. Now, why did it say 13? Let's do that again. gs.info, new glide date time. Because it is storing UTC, and I got the value UTC. I mentioned this a few days ago. Date time, glide date time, glide date, and glide time always store a UTC value. And because I didn't specify how I want that back, it's going to return the native value. Now, I don't know, I haven't done this before. Get display value should, I don't know if you can do this in one line or if you have to do two. Can't do it in any lines if you don't spell it right. I haven't tried chaining these together. There, it applies my time zone. Apparently that does work. You can do the dot walk thing. Can't do that with a glide record, but you can do it with glide date time. You can get the current date time value displayed in your time zone using a glide date time object. Again, that's valuable for instantiating multiple objects because you may want glide date time 1 is new glide date time. Maybe you call this one now to be a little more prescriptive. Okay, let's do that. And var later is, or maybe you call it epoch, is new glide date time. And you can put in here 1970 01 01 00 00 00. Okay, this is a UTC value. So if I were to ask for the display value of epoch, it's going to give me what, 5 a.m. UTC on December 31st, 4 p.m. I'm sorry, it was backwards. I was going forwards. It's backwards. I am 8 hours behind UTC. So that's what, because this instance is on Los Angeles time. I thought I had it on Phoenix time, but I could be wrong. I should only be 7 hours behind, but my system may be off. So that's proof that it's storing it as a UTC value. It's displaying it. If I just said get value, it will display the epoch time without the time zone applied. So it will retrieve my UTC value. And then, of course, I have ways to add time, add seconds, add hours, get just the time portion, get just the date time. Lots of things I can do to that. Whereas if I just did, say, GS now date time, it says, here's the date and time. I don't even know what that is. Is that an object? Let's go back to global and say var now 2 equals gs.now date time semicolon. And gs.info type of allows you to say what type of variable is this. Is it going to be an object? Is it going to be a string? Is it going to be, it's going to be a string. So that's not entirely useful unless you really want a string with the time zone applied. You can retrieve the script from the system logs. Ah, yeah, that's true. Could have done that because it does log. Steve is correct. If I go to system logs all, it is saying, hey, Chuck ran this script in scripts background. I forgot, it didn't used to do that. So background script run, you can get the script out of here. It's a good point. And there's the script I ran. Ding, 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 ding. So every time I run a script, background script, it's logged. Thank you. Good point. I have gotten in the habit of, before I hit the execute button, that I just do a select all and copy. Command A, Command C, then run. It's just gotten to be habit since like 2012, when sometimes the back arrow would lose your script. The other practice that I often do, and put that bottle cap down, is do my scripts in an external editor. And of course, there's nothing there. Okay. I thought I had something in the copy buffer. Copy that, put that in the buffer. And oftentimes I'll edit it over here and run it over there, particularly for unit test scripts. If I'm testing out a script include and I want to make a fake current object that I can use and then say, okay, when I pass current to this object, this is how the script, say a UI action is going to call my script include, then I know my script include is going to work always. I do sunny day tests, I do rainy day tests, and I often have them lined up here. I should be storing them somewhere else, probably in ServiceNow as a unit test would be a better idea since it's a system of record and my text editor is not. So something to think about. If you don't have a unit test application, I believe Chris Malloy's is still available on Share. Let's go check. Let's see, unit test. No. Let's check the old Share portal. Don't know if it's going to be there or not. Close. Unit test. Nope. I know he's got it on the community somewhere. Unit test. I can't remember what it's called though. It was written a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There it is, unit test utility, test-driven development. He may just have the update set pasted in here or attached here. 6 years ago. Now, obviously, you probably need to retest this. Yeah, he's got the zip files attached here. So it may work. Haven't tested in a long, long time. Don't even know if there's any recent comments on there. There was another comment as we narrow down to the top of the hour, and I know I've discussed this with you guys before, but I want to mention it again, about how do I get information in a client script. If a field is not displayed on a form, let's get back to here. This is common sense now, people. If a field is not on a form, then a client script and UI policy cannot act on it. You will get console errors if you try and say, make the state field hidden on this field. And it goes, well, there's no state field. The client doesn't know what's in the database. Therefore, it can't even say, are you sure you should have put that on there? It's just going to throw an error message. So if I were to write a client script or UI policy on this form and say, when level is information, hide the state field. It's going to go, what? Because UI policies are really just translated into client scripts. because the browser, as I mentioned before, only understands HTML. I just realized I'm not on the screen. It only understands HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So when you write a UI policy, we turn that into a JavaScript and send it. It's a very simple JavaScript, and you don't have to write that as a client script. So it will throw an error. You can't manipulate something that's not on the form. Doesn't make sense. Well, it makes perfect sense when you say it that way. So what the other person said is you could put that on the form. This is a 2-year-old discussion that recently got a new comment. That's why I bring this up. You could put that field on the form and use a UI policy to hide it. Then your other elements have access to it. Yes, you could do that. It's slower in execution, though. And the person will see this. And if you get in that habit, you're going to see this big form load, and it will do this transforming stuff of client scripts and UI policies. And I've heard some people that are even quick enough can get in there and make changes before the field is hidden, or before UI policy makes it read-only. Not the best experience and not best security. Don't rely on client scripts to be your security via hiding or read-only or whatever. It doesn't take much browser knowledge to be able to open up a console window and say, unhide this or make it unread-only. That type of security should be done on the server side through ACLs, through data policies, through some other way that is totally secure. Now, where was I going with this? Oh, if you need information, like state is a table field, but it's not on this form, you have 2 methods to do this. You can use G-Scratchpad to push that information, in which case you can set up a display business rule. So if I say configure business rules and create a new one, I know I'm doing this on syslog, and it's actually not a bad use case because there is something on the database that's not in here. And I could say send G-Scratchpad information. I don't even say what I'm sending because I may want to change this in the future. Do advanced, so you can say display. That turns off these other fields. It's not an insert update operation. It's just when the form loads, before the form loads. I did that walkthrough of what business rules get loaded when or run and at one point. Now I can put in here, G-Scratchpad is a big object that is empty and waiting for me to populate. So I can say G-Scratchpad dot state equals current dot state. Now this is a push operation. I should probably do get value state like that. Get value, get value, get value, kids. And if there is a state field, which I don't believe there is, but let's just pretend there is, I can send that, and then a client script on load, on change, can access it with gscratchpad.state and get that value and have it throughout the duration of that form until it's submitted, and then other things happen, et cetera, et cetera. What that gets me is a push operation, very efficient, very fast, but I don't have a way of updating that. If it's some dynamic information that may be changing, maybe I got to get information from another record, then you probably want to go to GlideAjax. And GlideAjax, as I noted in this, was discussed in episode 5 when we did client scripting years and years and years ago, me and Andrew Kincaid. I'm going to pop that out in my YouTube frame so we can see it. Waiting for it to redraw. Bring that out.
Goes by.
And way back here in the video, I described the process that happens in
suddenly
a synchronous operation. Let me blow that out for you. Hopefully we can all see that. The resolution from a video years ago isn't too great, but we've got the client over here. We've got the server over here. And the client says, I need some data. And it makes a GlideAjax call and says, I can get that. And the browser waits and waits and waits. This is a synchronous GlideAjax call. If this, from the point that it says, I can get that, and here you go, if that takes, say, 5 seconds, the user is sitting there at a locked up browser in a synchronous operation. Rarely do you need to do a synchronous operation. Rarely. There are some exceptions, but in the vast majority of cases, if I'm on a catalog item and I change one value and need to go look up another one, you can do that asynchronously. No one's going to notice in most cases. Okay. With an asynchronous operation, let me see if I can skip ahead to that. it looks more like this. I need some data. I can get that. The user can continue to work. So it's not locked up. Otherwise, people are going to be hitting keys and hitting the refresh button in the middle of an Ajax operation. It's kind of wacky. So hot YouTube on YouTube action. That's what we're doing right now. That's the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Always use asynchronous whenever possible. It leads to a better user experience. I thought I had a diagram. There it is. I was looking for that earlier. About GScratchPad. Use a display business rule to populate the GScratchPad object that gets passed to the client. And then an onLoan, and I believe OnChange has access to this as well, can use that to get that information. And that concludes our GScratchPad client script server side discussion for today. And I believe that brings me to the end of what I had in my notes and the end of the show. Thank you very much for watching. It has been a fun-filled hour. I hope you learned something. If so, click that like button on YouTube and others will know there's something useful in here. I will do my best to write down everything we talked about today. Thank you for the interaction. Thank you for the information, Kevin and Steve and everybody else who joined. It's been great. Hope you have a wonderful day. If this is the beginning of your Wednesday, have a great day. If it's the end of your Wednesday, sit down, relax, take a refreshing cold beer. And again, if you learned something today, be sure to share it somewhere. Tweet it or link in or tell a colleague. Sign up for Developer Meetup. You'll have a wonderful day. You will be a hero, and I wish you all the best. Till tomorrow, take care.